Screenwriting competitions can be very tempting for those of us who don't live in LA or don't have a lot of industry contacts already plugging us into town. These companies know it and sometimes they exploit it. I think there's a lot of pros and cons to screenwriting competitions, and we'll talk about some of those here today. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide what provides the most value for you and your writing career. All right, so not all screenwriting competitions are created equal. Obviously, some are much more renowned and garner more respect in the industry, and others are little more than scams, and there's a whole lot in between. So I think that there are really only about 3 or 4 that are really worth their salt, and a handful of other honorable mentions. In my opinion, the ones at the top of the list are the Nickel Fellowship. This is the one that's run by the Academy, and it carries the highest prestige of all the competitions. The prize money is also biggest, and thus it usually draws over 7,000 entries vying for the top 5 prizes. Okay, the other is the Sundance Screenwriters Lab. Now, the one thing that's unique about the Sundance Screenwriters Lab is if you win this, you can be part of a week-long screenwriting camp that is overseen by industry professionals and can certainly provide a lot of value. But again, it has a lot of entrants. The other one is the Austin Film Festival. Now, the Austin Film Festival also does teleplays, and not all competitions are accepting television scripts, but Austin does. It's a little bit more down to earth in their approach, a little bit more approachable, but they have had over 13,000 entries into their competition just last year alone. So it is very busy and very competitive. A few of the other honorable mention ones are ones like Slam Dance, Final Draft, Blue Cat, and Screencraft. Now, all these certainly have their pros and cons, as well as competitions in general. So let's start off with some of the pros. One of the pros is that it can provide inspiration and motivation for you to simply write. If having a hard deadline is helpful to you, give you a goal to write towards, and of course not wanting to waste the money on the entry fee, if that helps motivate you to write, then great. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing for us all to do is write. So if having a deadline, having that goal out there is something that helps you to motivate you and gets you down writing a lot more often, then it's good for that. Another potential pro is that some competitions offer script coverage as part of their entrance fee or for a small upcharge. As long as that upcharge is modest, this can actually provide a lot of value for you. Obviously, there's no guarantee as to the quality of the reader in these situations, but if getting good, honest feedback is something hard for you to get in your personal circle, getting an outsider's look at your script and to comment on it can really be useful. Our third and final pro is a shaky one, but at the end of the day, somebody has to win these things, so why not you? Now, there's obviously the odds are stacked against you with more subjective variables than you could ever track, but someone will win. Some people do end up getting reps. Sometimes people do end up getting sales and getting assignments. So if you happen to be one of the lucky chosen ones, then winning is obviously a very good pro. But this also leads us straight into our list of cons. For every winner, there are thousands and thousands of people who are left with nothing but a rejection letter and a divot in their bank account. The harsh reality is that even for the winners of some of these contests, yes, even the big ones like the Nickel and Sundance, end up with no sales, no agents, no deals. Yes, they might get a few phone numbers and they might take a water bottle around a town or something like that, but it is definitely not the golden ticket to the big time, even winning the top tier competitions. As I mentioned before, cost is another big con. You can blow through a lot of money real fast entering competitions, and most of us are not blessed with a huge stack of disposable cash ready to just throw at competitions. The harsh reality is that a lot of these competitions are really just cash grabs. These companies know it, and they know that readers are desperate to have their material considered, and so they exploit that. In my opinion, your money's probably better spent just buying coverage reports or funding a trip to LA so you can make meetings for yourself. Another big con is that these competitions are notorious for only rewarding certain types of scripts. Bleak, stark social injustice dramas are consistently rewarded, whereas genre scripts such as horror, comedy, family, rom-com, action, adventure, the films that actually make money, are consistently snubbed. So if your script is anything but a melancholy soapbox about how horrible humanity is, your chances at winning fall even further. Another big con is that you rarely know the quality of the readers or the judges in these competitions. Almost all of them will tout as having industry insiders or industry professionals reading and judging the scripts. But that's a very big sliding scale. There's a very good chance that the reader, whoever's judging your script, has no more experience than you do. And so there's really no way to tell if the feedback you're getting or the person judging your script really can give you a good meter on how ready your script is for the marketplace. Another con is this addiction to acquiring laurels. I know a few individuals that spend years pumping money into a single script, taking it around to tons and tons of smaller festivals in the hope of garnering a whole page full of competition wins to try to make their script seem more appealing to agents and producers. However, most of these producers are pretty savvy and they know the business, and placing in the top 3 of the International Greater Magulaburg Film Festival and Monster Truck Show isn't really going to impress them at all. So in summary, it's my opinion that screenwriting competitions are rarely worth it, but then again, it depends largely on what motivates you and what kind of story you have. But the important thing is for you to be informed and, of course, to keep writing.